Hi guys, my name is Teniola Aladeshe. I am an actor, a producer. Yeah, that's it for the introductions. Um, this is the story of how my apartment tried to me. Yep, let's go. First off, I sound weird. For people that know me, I sound weird because I'm just recovering from a flu. So pardon me, guys. I'm just recovering from a horrid flu that's been going on for almost a month. But yeah, that's why I sound, I don't know, muffled. Um, I made a few notes so that I wouldn't forget the important details, but I'm going to start from the very, very, very beginning in 2023. Sometime in 2023, I believe it was July of 2023. So, first off, this video um, is being made in honor of my father's passing. My father passed in My father passed in June of last year, June 2024, June 21st, 2024 to be specific. And I had promised him that I would make this video years before. That was in 2023. I had promised him that I would tell this story to people, to help people, to um, let people know, I guess. But work life, I guess I forgot about it. But as the anniversary of his passing is approaching, I guess I just figured, yeah, you made this promise to your dad. Um, and yeah, it's high time we kept that promise. So I'm making this video to keep the promise that I made to my dad in 2023. Yeah. So I made a few notes, not actually a few, a bunch of notes, just so that I wouldn't forget any details. So let's start from the very beginning. I was shooting a series in July of 2023. Um, yeah, a series called Slum King. Um, and I remember we shot a bunch of scenes in this old building. It's called the Old NEPA building in Ijora. And it's a very old, uh, yeah, that's how I can describe it. It's very old. It's abandoned, a bunch of abandoned warehouses in Ijora. And on one night when we were filming, I it was an intense scene, and I was supposed to hurry into a room and basically like scream at some people, and some people or someone was trying to hold me back. That was what the scene was in essence. And I remember doing this, but in the first take, I forgot that there was, I'm not even sure I knew that there was some metal thing screwed to the floor of this room that we were meant to be in. So I rushed into the room, and as soon as I rushed into the room, I hit my foot in the middle of the scene. I hit my foot mistakenly on this metal rod. Well, it wasn't a rod. It was just some metal thing on the floor that was screwed to the ground. And I felt the pain, but I was just like, you know what, Tenny, you've already started this scene. Let's go, let's just shoot. And as soon as we were done with the scene and I left the room again, I was just like, medic. Um, and then they called the medic, that's the nurse on set, and I'm like, do you have, because I figured out what it was. It was a rusted iron bar screwed to the floor. I'm like, do you have the anti-tetanus um injection, the what's it called, tetanus toxoid? And she's like, she doesn't. And then I tell her, as well as, was it the PC? I think the PC as well. A few people knew that I was injured, but it was a really tiny wound on my toe. It was a very tiny wound on my big toe. And so she didn't. So we were just like, you know what, just help me clean up the wound and let's continue shoots. And that is what we did. Had I known, oh my God, had I known that this would come back and bite me in the ass, I would have probably gone to the hospital that same day or at least the next morning. But that was not the case. So we cleaned the wound and we went on with shoots, and I completely forgot about this wound. We wrapped this project. We shot for maybe 2 months. I think up to 2 months. Actually, I can't remember. We shot for a while, maybe a month and a half or 2 months. We wrapped, and I completely forgot about it. One morning, I slept on my couch in my living room in my former apartment, and I remember waking up and just feeling extremely exhausted. I was just really, really tired, and I couldn't understand it. And I remember that the previous night I was feeling really exhausted, but I was just like, you know what? Maybe I just need some sleep. Let me just sleep it off. And so I woke up with this extreme pain in my jaw. My jaw just really hurt. I remember eating bread the night before. People who know me know that I love bread. I'm obsessed with bread. Mole bread, me, morning, afternoon, and night. So yeah, I was trying to eat bread, and it was just such a chore. Like it was like my jaws were working overtime, and it was just really painful. And I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. But the next morning, it was even worse. To open my jaw and speak was a chore. It was painful. And that's when I was like, what is going on? Like, first, it was me chewing bread, soft, succulent bread. That was a problem. And then things just started running through my mind. I'm like, lockjaw? Tetanus? I'm like, no. Because tetanus, the first symptoms of um of tetanus, I know this, is lockjaw. But I didn't really think I would have tetanus. But I just started thinking about it, that lockjaw, tetanus. And then I started Googling, and the more I thought about it, the more I was getting scared. I'm like, what is going on? Do I have tetanus? Excuse me. And so in that moment, I called my mom on, I think it was a video call. And I'm like, Mommy, I'm concerned that, please, would you mind calling Mom Morito? Mom Morito is my great aunt. She used to be a matron in General Hospital. I'm like, would you mind calling her and asking her, like, I'm having certain symptoms. Would you mind speaking with her and asking her if she thinks this is tetanus? My mom said, you are thinking it's if you're thinking it's tetanus, there's no calling anybody. Stand up and go to the hospital. Like, and my mom gets really worried when I'm ill. Um, and so as soon as I get off the phone, I call my driver to come and get me to go to the hospital. Wait, did I call my driver or I got a cab? I can't even remember. But I remember Googling symptoms and then me reading symptoms and realizing that I was feeling these symptoms, I was having these symptoms. But also, they said that because I was thinking, well, like I got this injury almost like 3 weeks ago. Why is it now? Like, so it can't be tetanus. Until I read in the symptoms that you don't start to feel the symptoms until like after 3 weeks, until like 21 days. It was 21 days. 21 days after you've um you've been injured. And I went to my calendar. I went to my call sheets to check the date of shoot. And I then started counting. It was exactly 21 days. a few days before this, I think maybe 2 or 3 days before this, I had I had been shooting a short film. My call time was, I believe, 7:30, and I got on set. No, it was either 7 or 7:30. One of the above. Pardon me. I'm mixing up some like little details because it's been 2 years. But I got on set. We shot this short film, but from the very minute that I woke up, I felt exhausted. And as soon as I got on set, I told production that I wasn't feeling great, I wasn't feeling well. It was Red Bulls that sustained me throughout that day. I was just drinking Red Bulls to stay on top of my game and to stand. But like I was missing lines, I was forgetting lines, and that's not who I am. Especially when I go prepared to set. And I would apologize, and everybody would say, "No, it's fine. This is it." But I know this is not how I am. Like to forget lines on sets when I've prepared for shoots, and to feel extremely exhausted that I can't even when they're framing a scene, I can't stand for too long. I'm like, I need to sit down. Anywho, we shot from 7:30. I think I left sets at about 5 a.m. the next morning. And that was because I had been pushing myself, and I was telling production, I'm not feeling great. Like, let's shoot and wrap. By 5 o'clock, when they took my final shots, I didn't even say goodbye to anybody. I just picked up my bag and walked out of set because I felt so terrible. And it was when I now started reading the symptoms and really wondering what was wrong with me. I'm like, is this why I've been feeling extreme fatigue? I've never felt this way before. And that's when I picked up myself and went to the hospital. So I got to the hospital, I believe it was a weekend, because I couldn't even see my regular, my regular doctor. So I saw, I can't even remember his name. I checked my phone, I'll probably see his name because I had to get his number, and I was in constant contact with him. But I went to the hospital. I explained everything that was going on. I was feeling weak, blah blah blah. Anywho, doctor sprung into action. He's like, it's most probably tetanus because of how you're feeling and because of lockjaw, blah blah blah. The thing is, there is no cure for tetanus. Even from my findings, googling and everything, I was getting scared. I'm like, there's no cure for tetanus, so is this I'm going to die? And I was seeing some videos and I was just getting really worried. So, anywho, they didn't have the what they call it. It's not the tetanus shot. Is it? I can't remember if it's the tetanus toxoid. I can't remember which one, but they were like, it may already be too late because you're meant to get it immediately, but we're still going to administer it to you, and then we're going to be treating you. There's no particular cure for tetanus, but there are a bunch of things that we can do just to The point is, I was sent back home, but I was told that as soon as they receive the toxoid, I would get a call to come back to the hospital. It's either that or they would come to me to administer it, and then I was given some meds. Now, I got, I came back when I was called. I got those, and I went home. Now, my concern was I was meant to resume another shoot in a couple of days. I'm guessing in like 2 days. I was meant to start another shoot, maybe even the next day. I can't even remember right now, but I was meant to start another shoot. So I packed my bags, I packed my luggage, and I went to set. I got to set. No, it wasn't even set. We were being put up in a hotel, and so we resumed. We started shooting. I was taking my meds every day. I was also drinking Red Bull every day. Red Bull, come and sponsor me. But I felt terrible each and every single day. Every single day. Not that I felt worse. And I remember by the second day of shoots, I messaged the doctor and I'm like, this is how I'm feeling. I was in constant contact with my sister as well. My sister was really worried. She's like, do I have to be on set? Can't I explain what is happening? And blah blah blah. In the middle of the night, one night I was feeling terrible. Um, I can't even remember how I got meds. I think I messaged production, and production then helped me go and get the medication that my doctor had prescribed for me because he sent a new prescription and they went to get them for me, and you started using them that night. But every single day on that set was such a chore, and it was very tedious because it was a very intense shoot. It required a lot of me like screaming, shouting, but I was powering through. Like when I remember these days, when I remember how I was on that set, I'm just like, it can only be God. Do. it can only be God because that was a very intense shoot. And I wonder how I didn't completely break down on that set. I remember on the second to the last day of shoot, I broke down crying because I just didn't understand how I was feeling. I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't like my head was constantly pounding. I was running a temperature. I just felt really, really terrible. And I could hardly concentrate. So I remember one time there was a scene that we're meant to be filming, and I went to the kitchen. I started crying in the middle of the scene. This scene did not require me to cry, mind you. But I was just like, I need a moment. I'm so sorry. And I went to the kitchen and I just cried. And I'm just like, God, I need to finish this film. Like, if you can just get me through this film, let me just finish this film and go to my parents' house and go back to the hospital. Just get me through, Lord, please. And we got back on set, we shot. It was a chore every single day, like I said, but we finally wrapped. And I remember calling my cab guy, Tunde, sure guy. Tunde has been my cab guy for years, for maybe over 10 years. So if I'm not taking my car somewhere, it's probably Tunde that will come and get me in his cab to drive me there. Excuse me. And so Tunde picks me up. I remember we were shooting in Festac. I think this was my first time ever shooting in Festac. And so he picked me up from the hotel and he drove me to my father's house. I got to my father's house. I went to the hospital. The point is, for 1 month, I'm going to try to shorten the story. For 1 whole month, I was being treated for tetanus. Um, I couldn't work during this 1 month. I pulled out of gigs during this 1 month because I didn't want to be a liability. And so I didn't work for an entire month. At some point, I started feeling better. And so I went back home to my house on the island. And I wasn't I wasn't 100%, but I was feeling somewhat better. Mind you, I had been taking antibiotics the entire month. I got home, and the first thing I noticed in my home is that my apartment was flooded. Like it had been flooded. It had dried now, but as soon as I entered, I was just like, my apartment flooded. So apparently, a pipe, and note this is very important, a pipe in the ceiling had burst, and my entire apartment had gotten flooded. House manager apparently knew this. They fixed the issue because they were aware, but nobody told me. Nobody called me. And when I brought it up to I called the house manager. I'm like, why didn't you guys tell me? He's like, they know how my work is. They didn't want to disturb me and blah, 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 blah. But I'm just like, my apartment flooded and you guys didn't tell me. Anywho, um, I could see like watermarks on the walls, bubbles in the walls. You know how when somewhere is damp and you've used like satin paint to paint it, you could see the bubbles in the wall. Anywho, I then what happened next? Let me confirm what happened next. Yeah, mind you, let me also make this note. On my way home, I stopped by the salon to make my hair because my hair hadn't been made in what, like a month. And so I stopped by the salon to just weave my hair all back in preparation to getting back to work. And I got in at say 9 a.m. They finished weaving my hair and I was about to stand up to leave. And I looked at the floor of the salon and I can see clumps of hair on the floor, just little, not even little, what am I saying? Like clumps of hair. And I look at them and I'm like, that's not my hair, is it? And they go, yes, ma, it's your hair. You're our first clients today. And I couldn't understand it. I don't mean strands of hair, guys. I mean clumps of hair that had fallen from my scalp. And in that moment, I'm like, what is going on? Like, why is my hair cutting this much? This is not normal. But I left and I got home. Now, over the next couple of days, I started to feel terrible. That's the only way I can put it. I started to experience symptoms that I did not understand. I started to experience extreme fatigue. I started to experience extreme severe headaches. Um, what else was I experiencing? A fever, and I just didn't get it. So I was like, okay, maybe they've been saying it since that tetanus, there's no cure for tetanus, and you just really, really just get better over time. It may take, they're like people who survived it. There are not a lot of people that survive tetanus, but the people who do survive tetanus, um, it takes some people, it takes months for them to completely recover. So I just thought it was the tetanus. Now, one day I was laying in bed. I was watching something on YouTube and my phone was in my hand. This is how I was. I wasn't wearing anything, wasn't clothed. And I was holding my phone like this in bed, laying down. Not completely like laying down, but like tilted. And as I was watching, I just felt liquid. And I looked down, like I said, I was not clothed. I look down and I see that milk had trickled from my bosom to my hands, like to my arm rather. In that moment, I was so freaked out. I was just like, what is happening? That another symptom I must mention is postnasal drip. That's having phlegm in your throat that I had to keep swallowing and swallowing. It's very uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable. And so when this back to the milk dripped, I'm like, I'm lactating. I was freaked out. When I tell you freaked out. And then in that moment, because my I had noticed the day before that my boobs were sore. In that moment, I just placed my arm, my hand, my palm on the other one, and sure enough, milk. I started to freak out. My God, I started to freak out. And I remember going to my car and just sitting in my car. And then I called my sister. And I'm just like, I don't know what is happening. And she's like, what's going on? Tosi, my sister. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, I'm lactating. She said, eh? I said, I'm lactating. I don't understand it. Like from nowhere. Nowhere, no action, guys. Mind you, no action, no nothing. There's no possibility of anything. I said, I'm lactating. And I explained what had happened. And she's like, okay, when are you going to the hospital? That don't freak out. When are you going to the hospital? I'm like, tomorrow. I've made the appointment. I will see Dr. Choma tomorrow. So I go to the hospital the next day. I speak with the doctor. Throughout this period, guys, I was in and out of the hospital multiple times. Multiple times. I spent a lot of money during this period. Money that I had made from filming everything. Just I didn't have an HMO. I didn't have health insurance, so everything was just going back to treating. Man, anywho, I tell Dr. Choma everything that's been happening from the tetanus treatments to everything. I list all the meds I've been using, how long I've been ill. I start from the very beginning. In fact, I wrote with each doctor that I was seeing, I made sure to write everything that was going on down in my notes on my iPhone, and I would literally either read it to them. I would ask them, "Would you mind if I read it to you, or would you like to read it yourself?" And so I read it to her, and she says, "Okay, so we're going to run a bunch of tests, because she also can't understand why I'm lactating." And so they did some blood tests. They did a urine test. After the blood tests, the blood test results came out, and she said, your prolactin levels are really extremely high. I can't remember what the level was now. It was extremely high. She said there's no reason. They also did a pregnancy test because I remember her saying we're going to do a pregnancy test. I said there's no point doing a pregnancy test. I can't be pregnant because I've not done anything in the recent, you know. She said, yeah, you say so, but just to be sure to rule it out, we have to. So I'm like, okay. So they do a urine test as well. And so when the tests come out, she's like, your prolactin levels are extremely high. So prolactin levels are high. I think it's how do they put it? I think it's the production of milk. So it's extremely high in pregnant women. With normal people that are not regular people that are not pregnant, it's not supposed to be high. Are you understanding what I'm saying? It shouldn't be high if you're not pregnant. Um, but that what we're going to do that just to rule it out, um, to make sure that you don't have a tumor in your brain, we have to do an MRI of your brain. And I'm like, eh? She said, yeah, because the prolactin is produced. I've forgotten how she explained it, but it's something along the lines of it's produced somewhere below the brain. So if there's a tumor in your brain, that could be what is affecting the prolactin levels. That's so we have to do an MRI just to rule it out that there's nothing wrong and you don't have a tumor in your brain. Ha! Guys, you guys, I was scared to my bone marrow. I'm just like, what have I done? What have I achieved in life that this will be happening to me now? What if does this mean I'm going to die? I'm not even joking. Different things were running through my mind. And so I remember going to billing in the hospital and they told me the total of the tests I was going to do. I think I was going to do a bunch of tests, a bunch of scans, and I think they said maybe 295,000. This is minus all the treatment I've been getting for tetanus that I've spent over how many million. I just said, thank you very much. I went outside, I entered my car, and I went to my house and I cried. I cried. Now, during this period, I was in a talking stage with somebody. And I'm pretty sure this guy was just wondering what is wrong with this girl. Like, because and this is important to note. I'm going to explain why. Um let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything as well. Again, okay, I've spoken about the symptoms I was having. Yeah, so like I was saying, I remember being in a talking stage with this guy during this period, and I think we went on a total of we had been talking for a minute prior to to me being like terribly ill with tetanus. We had been speaking a lot. He wasn't in the country at the time. He had traveled for like a month, and so when he did get back, um he knew while I was ill and he was checking on me at that point. But when I did get back to my house on the island and he did get back into the country, the plan was to go on a first date. Now, I think in total we went on like 3 dates, but he knew I would explain to him exactly how I was feeling. I would explain that I was feeling terrible. I had, like I said, extreme fatigue. I had headaches. I had postnasal drip, that's phlegm in my throat. I had a sore throat. Sore throat was one of the main. I had what am I saying? One of the main. That was the main symptom actually, a sore throat. Remember that. And it was a weird kind of sore throat. It's not a sore throat that's till today I know how to explain. It was. I feel like the best way I can explain it is that it was painful to breathe because when I would breathe in and out, like when I would breathe in, it it's like the air was causing a sharp pain in my throat. That's how I can explain it. I don't know how else to explain it. And so the plan was, you know what, we're going on a first date. And so I was excited about it. I was excited to not think about being ill. I'm like, even if you're not feeling great, go out, have a good time. So yeah, I got dressed. Uh, did I do makeup? Yeah, I did makeup. I got dressed. I did makeup. I hadn't done makeup in over a month. At this time, I was just like, you know what, go out, have fun, have drinks, and just flirt away. So yeah, he picked me up. We went to, I think we went to Slow. We had dinner at Slow, and prior to this, before he picked me up, I had spoonfuls of glucose, like spoonfuls of glucose, just so that I would have my energy up and I wouldn't feel extremely tired. Mind you, he knew, like, I was always explaining to him how I felt. Like, I didn't feel great. I was feeling ill. Yeah, the whole shebang and my throats, and I was being treated at the time. Um, but I just wasn't feeling better. So we go on this date. First date, it was great. Great first date. Great vibes, great conversation, great food, flirting, of course. He dropped me off at home. And during the date, I felt decent. It's not like I felt great, but I felt decent. Yeah, I felt decent, and there was some energy. So I wasn't like down and woe is me kind of, no. So I got home, back to my symptoms again, along with my symptoms. Second date, I remember we went out, we had dinner and drinks. We had dinner and drinks. We went to Ox. Yeah, we went to Ox. We had dinner and drinks, and yeah, it was a chill date, ate, did. And then in the moment, I'm very free spirited. People that know me know this. And I'm just like, and I love the beach. And I hadn't been to the beach in a minute. Normally, I just like to go to the beach. I'd stop at the beach to just chill, take a walk, or go by the beach and read my scripts or read a book or study my scripts. Yeah, sometimes me alone, most times me alone, sometimes me and my friend Fatima or me and Jen. That was not the plan, but I was just like, I feel like going to the beach. Should we go to the beach? And he's like, yeah, sure, let's go to the beach. So we go to the beach. We went to Soul Beach. Soul Beach used to be my jam, like used to be my vibe. Until government did what they did. Anywho, went to Soul Beach and we took a walk and we talked. It was short. It was nothing extensive. We just took a walk by the water and we talked and then we headed home. Like he dropped me off and then went to his house. I felt good while we were outside. As soon as I got home, like maybe hours later, I started to feel a certain way again. Ha, yeah. As I was saying, um, so third date, he picked me up and then we went to his house. Again, I loaded up on glucose, loaded up. Picked me up early evening. I was there till like night, just gisting, watching stuff, and then eating. And then he dropped me off back at home. But when I look back at it, I'm sure this guy thought I was a dirty liar. Excuse me. Like when I look back at that time, I'm sure this boy thought I was full of shit. He's just like, why is this girl claiming she's sick? Because I see her. We vibe. We gist. There's energy. Why is she saying she's ill? Like, because he wasn't seeing that I was ill when I was spending time with him. He wasn't experiencing that. But I would complain to him. I would tell him, like when I wasn't with him, that I felt ill. I had a terrible sore throat. But yeah, like there was nothing ever physical with us, especially because I had a sore throat. In my own mind, I'm just like, I don't know what is going on with me. I don't know what is wrong with me. I know I feel a certain type of way. I know I have a terrible sore throat. I'm not I'm not going to go and kiss somebody's son when I don't know what's in my throat and they keep treating me and it's not going. Um so anywho, I remember, let me just confirm that this